Hi, welcome to another Cook With Me video. For anyone tuning in, these are videos that I'm making like a visual diary, visual recipe box for my kids who are growing up and are going to be leaving the nest. Some of them have left already, well, one has, although he might be coming back, so I'm waiting to see about that. And since the weather has gotten cooler, this is something that we really enjoy. It's very homey. It's very easy to put together. It is a crock pot with beef and cabbage and carrots and onions and all that stuff. So it's very easy to do. This is going to make a large quantity, so you can always tailor the recipe in terms of quantities for your size family and your size crock pot. So you will need carrots. You're going to need ground beef. I'm going to use 2 pounds in this case. You need some green cabbage, some onions, some beef broth, and again, I like to put in the unsalted beef stock because I like to control the salt in my foods. I'm using the smoked paprika, which is sweet again, and this is going to give the thing a nice smoky flavor. Pepper, salt, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. I'm going to brown the beef and I'm going to chop everything up and I'll come back with the quantities. All right, see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm just popping back in. This is the 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm browning it. I'm browning it in a non-stick pan, so I didn't have to add any oil. If you don't have a non-stick pan, kids, you can use just a regular one, but I would either spray that pan or put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom. And so I'm going to cook this until it's no longer pink. And then as a little tip, I'm just keep a can. Keep some of your aluminum cans. Wash them out and keep them on the side because it's great to drain fat into. So if you didn't have this, you could do it into a Pyrex container. You just don't want that fat down the drain. So let me finish browning this, and I'm going to cut up the veggies, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back again, and now I have browned the meat, and I put it into the crock pot. I sprayed the crock pot first. And I'm going to put that on the bottom. Then I'm going to layer the rest of the items. So I have 2 things. This is the whole head of cabbage that you saw. So I cut it up into chunks or larger pieces. They weren't minced or diced or anything like that. So because this will cook down. So I'm going to put that in. And hopefully I'll be able to fit everything in. You might have to press it down a little bit. And then I'm going to put in, this is 4 of those carrots. I'm going to use half of it now. And this is a 6-quart crock pot. So if you have a 7-quart, oh, and I forgot to mention the carrots, there were about 4 of them, but they were roughly 4 cups maybe of sliced. I like them sliced into thin pieces. So if you're wondering how I did that, I have this mandolin. It's a really cheapo thing from Walmart, and it has a lock on it and 3 settings, so I used it on the 3rd setting. It also comes with this little plastic piece that when you get closer to the end, you don't want to slice your finger, so you use that to press down on your item. It's really worked well, and I use it a lot, so that's a good little thing to get. If you don't have that, that's fine. Just chop up your carrots. I wouldn't keep them in big pieces because they tend to be, they don't cook as well in the crock pot, so the thinner the better. I also have those onions. It's about 2 cups of chopped, so I'm going to put half of it in. You can really do this however you want. You can add in more. You can add in, I forgot to break up some of this. Okay, so I'm getting pretty close. So now I'm going to put, excuse my finger, I'm trying to figure out where to put my hand when I'm trying to do this one-handed and hold my phone at the same time. Okay, so I have a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, and I'm going to only sprinkle half of that on here, about half. And I have a tablespoon of smoked paprika sweet and a tablespoon of garlic powder. And again, I'm only going to spread maybe half of that on here. And I have a teaspoon of black pepper and about a teaspoon, just shy of a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to put some of that on here. And then I'm going to layer it again. I'm going to put my other part. Hopefully this will fit. If not, then I might dial back on a little of the cabbage. We like the cabbage. And now this is going to cook down quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but it will cook down. So I am going to really press this down. Excuse me. Well, I press down the, I should have a spoon, but I don't, so I'm going to use my hands. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. I'm going to put my carrots on. Oops. Yes, you can see that this is going to be really tight. Usually I do this in my 7-quart crock pot, but my son, who is away, borrowed my crock pot at the moment. This is a 6-quart, so you can see it's not going to, fit as well, but the top will make it fit. Not a problem. So there is my items. Now if your crock pot is very small, you're going to have to dial back on the quantities that you are using in order to get the lid on. Okay, so I'm going to spread the other part of my seasonings on here. I'm going to sprinkle the rest of this on. And I'm going to sprinkle this on, the rest of it. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 4 cups of this beef unsalted broth. Now, if you are using beef stock or broth that has sodium salt in it, the normal stuff, then I might reduce I wouldn't even put in the teaspoon of salt. Then, because you can always taste it. You can't take it out, I tell my kids, but you can always put more in if you need it. So I'm just going to let that soak in, and carefully, because my crock pot is overflowing here. Okay, and let me get the lid, and then I'll tell you how long you need to cook it. All right, hold on. Okay, I moved my crock pot into position, put the lid on. It did fit, and I like to put these down a little bit to hold it down, hold down the lid better. There's also a little venting hole here. Sometimes I'll cover that with a cloth so that it keeps the steam in. Typically I like to cook this on low for 8 hours. So you could do this the night before, assemble it the night before, keep it in your refrigerator, take it out, stick it on low, and it'll be ready by the time you get home that evening from work, or if you're running errands, or even if you're just at home, it gives you other time to do other things. But for expedience sake, because I am not going to be here this evening, I am going to actually put it on high. Okay, it's been about a little over 4 hours, and let's check on this. So I'm going to loosen the lid, and it is steaming. Probably hear it as well. So you can see that it has cooked down. I mean, it's shrunk a little bit, and the juice is running up pretty high. So basically, I'm just going to stir it a little bit at this point. Now, it's probably done, but I really like to cook it a lot longer so that it becomes super soft, and all of this good, cabbage and onion becomes sort of caramelized. It becomes a little sweeter, so it's really, really tasty. So at this point, you could stir up so that the beef, since it's completely cooked, it can come up higher now into your thing. You could season it a little bit. I'm just going to press that down, and I'm going to cook it longer. So this has been on high. Hi, welcome back. This is what the finished product looks like. Usually I serve it over rice or maybe over some potatoes, but tonight is going to be a busy night and we have to sort of eat and run. So it's just the soup, or not even a soup, but like a stew. There is going to be a little more liquid. I didn't take as much, but just added a little more seasoning to it and it's good to go. So I hope you enjoyed this. It turned out that I would probably recommend low on 8 to 10 hours and high about 6 to 7 hours. I actually ended up cooking it probably about 7 hours on high because I really wanted to, I started it later in the day and I needed to get it done by a certain time, so I cooked it on high. And it does really caramelize and marry the flavors better. So hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, visiting. Please like and subscribe, and tell me if you try this and what you think. All right, thanks.